Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. As I always say, it's really good to be with you. I'm Graham Moore, and I'm Certified Master of the Leadership Challenge. And I know that today, Phoebe, my really good friend and our wise counsel, Phoebe has got something that he wants to say today as we start this presentation for you. Phoebe.
Good morning, good evening, good night, wherever you are. Greetings to all. Nice to be with you, Graham and Mohammed. Yeah, I was just having an interesting conversation with my son, and it was about his internship experience and how he felt being onboarded and how he felt being belonged in that place on that first week. And that is his first experience of work and workplace. So the way in which he was provided with information, the way in which even on the first week they provided a small gathering, a party, a pasta party, which when he explains, we feel that, okay, we can hear and sense from the words that the happiness coming from that person who is experiencing the first experience of in a real life workplace. So I am keen to bring our thoughts how as leaders in workplace we can create a better experience for everyone who is working with us in a daily basis. So that's some of my thoughts at this point of time.
Okay, well, I'm going to say that because we have the authority, shall we say, that we have to be able to express opinions and advice about this is because the Leadership Challenge Middle East, which is the three of us, Leadership Challenge, we kind of know a lot about the Leadership Challenge, which some people may know, the book has been around for over 40 years, and it is well recognized as one of the most widely read leadership books globally. And because of that, we claim a little bit of a right, if you like. I don't like to use that word, but a little bit of practical knowledge about leadership in organizations and how we can help you in your organization make a difference. And Phoebe has suggested, because of a recent experience that occurred to him, that one area that leaders can make a difference in is the onboarding area in organizations. Yes, it happens with every new employee, doesn't it? And why? I don't know. Why would we want to create an first day? I mean, this person's just first day. Why would we want to create a good impression for them? It's your first day. Here's where the toilets are. There's where the canteen is, where you get your coffee. Here's a desk to sit at. Now, read this information. These are the regulations that you need to follow. First day. And when you've read all those regulations, it'll probably be 5 o'clock and you can go home. And we'll see you tomorrow. Mohammed, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I was laughing because those usually probably are the things that are read for inmates anyway. Okay, so there is a reason for that, of course. Any new relationship, long or short, starts with building a rapport. All right. Now, sometimes that rapport is built intentionally. Sometimes it just happens. You as a leader, don't let things just happen. You should build a good rapport, especially with someone you're going to work. You don't know for how long. Maybe you will see him or her more than you see your spouse. All right. You better have a good rapport with that person. And let's remember that, like we say in speeches, or any conversation, the recency and the what's the other word? The reason, huh?
Primacy.
Yes, primacy and recency, they are the most remembered. So make that first impression last long, and it's a good one. And by that, you will save a lot of energy on the way, because that person you have onboarded is fully energized and he's committed, dedicated, all the things that you are looking for in a long-term employee.
And hang on. Look, We went to a lot of trouble to find this person, and finally we found this person, and we think, okay, we'll employ this particular individual. He should be grateful for what we're doing. Why should we go to all this trouble to make him feel welcome? Why? He should be lucky he's going to get paid if we feel like it. Phoebe?
Yes, yes, he should thank us. He should bring us a bouquet of flowers. He should.
Of course, I hadn't thought of that, but of course he should bring us a bouquet of flowers. Why? Here's the question above all. Why should organizations take the approach that we are talking about now? And how many thousands of dollars or dirhams will it cost them? Firstly, there's the two questions. Why should they do this? And what is the huge cost for them to do this? Phoebe?
I like to bring, most of us who are hiring people understand that how much time it takes for identifying, interviewing, then issuing an offer, then providing that offer letter, a contract signed. And in many cases, we know that employees have options too. They may either accept it or not accept it, and you may have to continue the loop. And one aspect which quite often organizational hierarchy and people in positions of power forget, it is all effort, and effort equals cost. And sometimes they are not looking into that aspect, and I call that the hidden cost of leadership actions. And another aspect which I just want to bring in, imagine that I am recruited, I am there, and I am experiencing a welcome, which again I link to, I feel belonged in that place. How emotionally connected I will be. Emotions are data. And what are the ways in which these emotions are being, are we making emotions which are creating a culture which is positive, or are we creating an emotion which is creating a culture which can take the organization down? And that is where many organizations get stuck, because people doesn't feel belonged, and people doesn't feel they are considered and valued in that workplace. And that is what make people either leave the organization or stay in the organization or explore new opportunities. And this is something which leaders should do. And I want to bring the first practice of the leadership challenge, modeling the way. As a leader who have the authority, who have the power in that space, what am I doing to make my new employee or the existing employees feeling belonged in this place?
Yeah, we call it, of course, engagement. We all know the term engagement, but belonging is another part of this. I feel I belong here. When someone can use that simple term, and people will be more likely to use that term than the one that we in HR say we have a high level of engagement. Sure, it's a nice word to be using, a bit of jargon, but people will say, I feel I belong. I love working here. And I'm going to flip the idea that we often talk about with new employees of the period that they have, not internship, but the period of maybe 3 months or so where they are not entirely confirmed as part of the organization. You know what I'm getting to, don't you? The word that we use, that they are under what? What's the term, gentlemen?
Probation.
Probation. Yeah, I thought that's the first word that the first time that I heard about that word, probation, was about prisoners being released from jail. The connotation is strong. You are here on probation. Yeah, but I didn't murder anybody. So I'm going to flip that on its head and say, why don't we turn it around and say to the new employee, we place ourselves on probation for you. You have got 6 months to decide whether you want to stay here and be part of this organization. And so therefore, what are we as an organization going to do in that 6 months' time? We are going to fulfill that belongingness, aren't we? Because we want the new employees that we spent a lot of time looking for, putting them through the recruitment process and deciding on them. There's a lot of cost in order to get to that point, but the little costs that apply to keep them are small costs, right? The small costs comes from the relationship, comes from the little things that we do. Mohammed, give me some more on this.
Yeah, when you say the little things, I'm reminded also of the 20-80 rule. Okay, you can get 80% of the results by focusing on 20%. And guess what? The person who's being onboarded, he is or she at his or her highest excitement level. You know, that excitement level, it's a full, full empty glass, which is ready to accept. Let me break this down. What keeps the employees coming to you? If you think that they are lucky, they should be grateful to you as a leader or an organization. Remember that the salary or the compensation or the materialistic things that you give them every month or so, it's enough to make them present at work. That's it. You don't
Now,
want people to be, you're not hiring them to be present, you're hiring them to become productive. Productive is a different ball game. So if you want them to be productive, you start with what makes them productive. And it's not the money. They will do just enough to get that salary and get away with it, right? But productivity is a different ball game. I remember, I'll tell you what, when I was promoted to another department and I was promoted to a management level, my manager barges in my office, and that was end of the duty, first days, and he says, Mohammed, I want your personal goal. I wasn't sure I heard that because I don't remember any manager before asked me about my personal goal. Yes, personal goal. What do you want to achieve for yourself? I'm like, we are busy with reports. We are busy with so many deliverables and objectives. And this man is asking about my personal. He has enough on his head, but he took the time to say to me, write your personal goal and send it to me on an email. I will be back in my office. I'm waiting for it. Wow. Wow. Needless to say, maybe I mentioned it in another episode. I wrote at that time when I was part of Toastmaster, I said, I want to become the world champion of public speaking. I sent it to him. And in 1.5 years, I was in the top speakers in the finals in Washington. How did this come to fruition? It was just inside my head. He enabled me. All the 5 practices of, of leadership challenge are in that moment, 1.5 minutes. He did all of them. And then he was the first one to celebrate that with me.
wow.
Work on the employees' productivity, dedication, and energy, and that doesn't come through the monthly salary, I'm afraid.
It doesn't come through directiveness either, does it? It doesn't come saying, these are things that you need to do. So one of the things going through my mind as you're saying this is that we want our staff to be we want their mind, and we also want their heart. We want their mind because that's going to tick over the work that they're going to do and the processes and procedures that they'll get to understand and what to, etc. But what's going to have them stay with us in the long term with any organization? That's the point, not us. But what is it? It's their heart, isn't it? That's going to be the decision as to whether in the longer term, whether they want to be with this organization. I love working here. Okay, how can we bolster, fulfill the relationship as far as the heart goes? This is not about giving them an expensive dinner every month with their children and family on a yacht somewhere. You know, it's not about spending money on them. This is about things that the leader does starting in the first week, where the leader in this onboarding process may well call into this person's workplace, not say, come to my office, but go to their workplace and sit down and say, okay, you've been with us for 2 days. What have you learned so far? And what can we do to improve for you with the working experience? But tell me what you've observed. And I want to have a conversation with you at least once a week for the next 3 weeks to make sure that you're feeling comfortable about what's going on here, and that we are doing the right thing by you. How would that happen if I, as a senior manager, did that to a first level person joining the organization? How would they feel? Initially,
can I come in?
yeah, but initially I was going to say they'll feel intimidated perhaps because I'm at a senior level. But if I come down to that person and into their workspace and talk to them, am I breaking barriers down? Yes. Am I saying anytime you want to come up and see me on the 27th floor in my office? Absolutely, you can do it. So this is helping them feel really comfortable. And even in that early stages, be feeling valued. Phoebe.
Yeah, when I heard that story from Mohammed, and when you shared these aspects right now, what I felt is you being connected to that person, and
Yes.
feeling connected, and also the team's purpose. You are coming to the purpose of what we are going to do, and we see the leadership practices, the 5 practices of exemplary leadership from the leadership challenge being visible. One is modeling the way. The leader is modeling the way, and he is also inspiring. Like, for example, what is the goal of Mohammed? Like, and inspiring a shared vision so that he can work along with everyone in the team, whatever his own personal goals as well as organizational goals. And another aspect of course, encouraging the heart. But in this process, as an individual, the feeling which is going in my heart is, feeling seen, feeling
Yes.
heard, and feeling valued in that process.
And these things are not hard to do, are they? The cost is minimal compared to having to get someone else because that person that you've employed is not feeling engaged and doesn't feel a sense of belonging, right? What's going through my mind, Phoebe, is almost a mini workshop directly with that new individual. Now, this is probably a big call if we're getting new people joining us, but to say to this person, okay, let's talk about values. These are my values. Let me share my values with you as a new person. And you tell me or think about what your values might be. And then say, let's talk about vision. This is the vision that I have. And this vision is shared by the team members. This is a shared vision. We all want to achieve this. So I want you to feel that you are now part of this. And if you then said to this person, now I'm doing it really quickly, you wouldn't do it as quickly as this. But if I'm open to you challenging the way we're doing things. I want you to think about better ways of doing things. We call this challenge the process. So I want your ideas, even though you're only new to the organization, talk to us about how we can improve things. And I want you to feel that we believe in you. We want you to achieve the very best that you can achieve and even surprise yourself. We're going to help you do that. And you know what? We are always going to recognize when you've done good things. We know the value of saying to you, what a great job you've just done when you have done it. That's a mini workshop on the 5 practices, probably not done so quickly, but if we can talk about those things with a new member of the team, are we going to get good results? Yeah. But even if it's just a regular check-in for the first couple of weeks, how you going? Come and have a cup of coffee with me. Tell me how it's going for you. Is everybody being friendly? You feel you're part of this already? You want to stay with us? Great. Because we want to get past that probation period so that you don't.
If I may share, we tend to think that the materialistic things are the biggest incentives to pull people in or keep them there, all right, or create a sense of belonging. We tend to forget something that we already have this. Even those who say this, we don't have enough money, we don't have enough budget to keep making people happy. You don't have to. You remember what took you there as a leader also was not the material part, all right? I still remember, let us flip it a little bit. I was in the department and then the manager changed and another manager came. And then another manager came. So one of them came to the department, and this is, by the way, between brackets, the leaders change so often and not the employees, all right? The management, they change very rapidly than this, which means you can do lots of good things while you're there. Anyway, so he came into the department and he said, he called me in the office after, I think, few weeks, Mohammed, why aren't you an acting superintendent? This is where you become just before the next level superintendent. I wasn't dreaming of the superintendent. To me, it was far. He said, you are not even acting superintendent, which means for a period of time you will act like a superintendent, get a fraction of the compensation. I said, no, I'm not. He said, I'm surprised. I'm surprised. You know what? I'll write the memo. I'll write uh, whatever, I was the acting superintendent, I think, in less than a month. My point is, that was the biggest boost for me. Everything that was growing in me in this level, it grew like, a rocket, skyrocketed. My attitude, my performance, the way I work, the results I deliver, everything went 10x because he said you are the acting. And we think that it's the money what will make people work better. That is a different algorithm. When you come in, or when your employee comes in, think about what they are longing for deeply, just like you as a leader wanted this badly when you were recruited.
Because it's the heart, right? It's the heart. It's the heart that we've got to work with and appeal to. So this is really where we get real ongoing commitment of the people who come and want to stay with us, want to work with us. By the way, what should the letters CEO stand for? What should they stand for?
Chief Executive Officer,
Good. What should they stand for?
I'm thinking something related to prison also, probation, no?
Not related to prison at all. Come on, be positive. Related to what we're talking about.
Okay.
I think Chief Employee Officer.
No, one step further, Chief Engagement Officer.
Wow, loved it.
So if he's, but then everybody in the lower, as the levels go down, they should be engagement officers. They should be promoting engagement for everybody who's part of the organization. Correct? This is not hard. I keep saying this. It's not hard. It's the relationship. It's the interpersonal reaction. It's what we do. It's what we say that have people saying, I love working here. I never want to leave. I go home at the end of the day knowing that I've made a difference in working in an organization where everybody gives the best that they can give because they want to, right? Because they want to. And that want comes from the attitude demonstrated right up front and continuing ongoing by the leaders in the organization. Not leader, everyone. Leadership is everyone's business. So it's that attitude that contributes to everybody saying, I just love it. I don't want to leave. And this starts at the first day that they come in. And Phoebe gave the example of his son. And I reckon that there's a really good chance that when his son has finished this short-term engagement with the organization, he's probably going to want to say, I want to stay here. I want to stay in this organization because they care about me. And I will give everything I can to help the company be successful because of what they are doing to me as part of it started rather with the initial onboarding. Mohammed.
I would just want to say for probably the last one, when you say it's easy, I'm hearing a manager saying, well, you think so. You know what my employees say all the time? Where is my increment? Why my increment is not only 3% this year or 1%? Why am I? Everybody talks money in the workforce. Everybody's fighting for money. They write emails, they come and go, and their only language is incentives. The only improvement in their work is money, money, money. How do you want me to use a non-materialistic incentive, Mohammed? I will say the answer because I was an employee long enough to be there, and I was one of them. And actually, our conversations most of the time were, when are they going to pay us? When is the bonus? When the blah, blah. You know why we do this as employees? Because we stopped seeing leaders. We
Yes.
stopped being treated by leaders. There were managers who just want us do the list, all right? Or else. Do the list or else, okay? And always managing our sick leaves, managing our annual leaves. A clerk can do this, for God. HR is there, it will take care of us, right? Okay. But you were there to not to just to manage. You are a leader. And I am really pissed off, sorry to say that word, when they call leadership training soft skills. I am really unhappy with that, because the hard results that come from us employees were depending on that, what you call soft skill, which he doesn't have. The leadership that he doesn't have is resulting in poor productivity, even poor quality of work, even from us. And that's why the only language we know as employees, I mean, is when's my next bonus?
Yeah,
Period.
I know. When you're talking about this, I'm going through the time that I was working in the corporate world, and I was doing the work that yes, I love doing it. And I know that whenever I approached and said, can I have some more money? I didn't quite do it in those terms, but close to that. Oh, Graham, look, we can give you this much. We're sorry, we can't make it even more. Sure, I wish that they would have made it more, but it was in this environment that I now know, because of experiences that I've shared with over this time, of things that occurred way back then that I was doing, and it impacted on people who were working for me. And I reflect on how positive I engendered their experience in the organisation. Would I have liked to have 4 times the salary? Yeah, of course. Is it going to be realistic? No, it isn't. But I know that if we can help people love what they're doing, we reduce the impact of them saying, I need more money. And I know that we're in tough economic times. They say that in various parts of the world now. But if you go to work with the feeling that I belong here and I'm getting great satisfaction in the work that I do, I could go somewhere else. And I've heard stories, quite honestly, of people leaving the organisation they are in, that they loved working for, going to a position where the money was better, and 6 months later, they're knocking on the door of the company that they left because they were cared for in that previous organisation. And the money that they are now getting is not offsetting the difficult environment that they're working in. I'm not being dismissive of the need for people to earn good salaries, not at all. But I think it's easy for us, and doesn't cost the organisation a lot, for us to care for the people that we're engaging from day one. From day one, make an effort to show we care about you. And you can decide in 6 months' time whether we have passed the probation threshold. Tibi, final word from you.
I want to remind everyone, leadership isn't a title. It is a set of action
Yeah. Yes.
and choices we make every day. Whether you are onboarding, whether you are on a project, welcoming a new team member, I want all of you to remember the 5 practices. Model the way, inspire a shared vision, challenge the process, enable others to act, and encourage the heart. And when we do this, we don't just manage work. We create workplaces where everyone belongs, thrives, and contributes their best.
Do it from their first day with you so that they go, this place is different. I'm not sure. I want to stay here. Gentlemen, thank you very much. I appreciate your insight, your wisdom, and sharing this the way we did. And I thank Phoebe for his introduction to this and suggesting, based on the experience that his son has had. I think it's an area that we often overlook and we take for granted, but it is the start of a wonderful relationship with a new staff member and the organisation if it's handled correctly. Gentlemen, I wish you a good day. Thank you very much. I
Thank
look
you.
forward to being with you again next week. Have a successful week, please. All of you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good day.